Got a new haircut, got a new suit, I got COVID, I'm ready to start the new year. 2020 is finally behind us and most people would love to keep it that way. However, I am not most people. Yeah, 2020 may have caused an economic collapse along with a global pandemic that has taken countless of people's lives. But video games were great, right? Come one, come all. Welcome to the 5th annual Tyler's Totally Unbiased Bestest Things of Best Things 2020 Guilt-Free Edition sponsored by Neil Druckmann. Ah yes, my massively popular Twitter award show has finally gone video, and it's all thanks to you guys. 2020 was a strong year for gaming, giving us fully fleshed out remakes and sequels, as well as unique games of its own. Even the AAAs were trying to find creative twists on their usual games, like the Play As Anyone system in Watch Dogs Legion, or whatever the hell The Last of Us 2 was trying to do. It wasn't all Mario Sunshines and Rainbows though. We witnessed a myriad of controversies, delays, embarrassments, delays, bugs. And did I mention delays? I would like to think that the gaming industry has learned a lot after COVID. But that would require me to believe that the gaming industry ever learns anything. Before jumping into this list, I've got some honorable mentions I'd like to share somewhere around here. Is that it? We're done? Okay. Here's the top 10 video games of 2020 that changed my life and simultaneously ruined my life. Number 10. Astros Playroom. I never expected a tech demo to ever scratch the surface of Game of the Year. But Astros Playroom is such a delight to play, it demands to be on this list. Astros Playroom is a PlayStation game that's built like a Nintendo game. Nostalgia is all over the place, making this feel like a true celebration of PlayStation. Look, they even got the Order 1886 in here. Nobody even cares about that game. That's so cool. I'm sure I smiled more seeing that Easter egg than I ever smiled playing the Order. The platforming is a breeze, and the use of the DualSense makes this game literally feel like no other game you've played before. Plus that GPU song fucking slaps. This game also takes home the award for Best Wii Sports Like and Best Use of DualSense for the entire generation because I doubt anyone will do it better, and that depresses me. Number 9. Iron Man VR. Waltzing around in a bulky iron suit is probably the least innovative thing in video games ever. Especially as of late, when games like Anthem and Marvel's Avengers utterly failed to capture the thrills of being Iron Man. Luckily, Iron Man VR is here to show them how it's done. Now, not everything quite works right, but Camouflage Studios nails what matters the most, the controls. And the game is a standout VR hit because of it. This game also takes home the award for Least Embarrassing Iron Man of the Generation, and the Feeling the Coolest While Looking the Dumbest award. Number 8. Star Wars Squadrons. Dogfighting in VR is a rip-roaring good time, and I've been dying for a high-quality version in space for a while now. Star Wars Squadrons fulfills that desire. This is the smartest use of the Star Wars license that EA has done this entire generation. The attention to detail inside every cockpit is astounding, and the combat is the Goldilocks of gameplay. Not too casual, but not overwhelmingly hardcore either. The writing sounds like a cheesy plot you'd find on a Disneyland ride, but what a ride it is. VR makes the entire experience worth your while. You can play it outside of VR, but you can also order a hamburger without cheese and ruin dinner for yourself too. This game also takes home the award for Best Bleeps and Bloops and Best Period Piece. Number 7. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Activision has been pounding our asses for years with the Tony Hawk brand, but now it's finally starting to feel good. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is a labor of love to the originals, from the gameplay right down to the soundtrack. It's the Tony Hawk we know and love with a nice sexy silk dress on. That's a terrible mental image.
Sorry you had to see that.
Usually I would not consider remasters in Game of the Year discussions, but with the way this game combines two stellar Tony Hawk games from the PS1 and updates them not just graphically, but with improvements from later games, and adds more customizability than Cyberpunk, it proves to be far superior than a simple HD remaster. This game also takes home the award for Best Game to Recreate and most likely to become a microtransaction mess. Number 6. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Here comes the third VR game on this list, and it's easily the best. Despite new consoles being released, VR had a wonderful year. And as I'm writing this, I realized every VR game I have on this list is based off a pop culture license. Not to spoil anything, but I'm also realizing that out of the 10 games on this list, only 2 of them are new IPs. I'm part of the problem, aren't I? What was I trying to talk about? Walking Dead. You know, I think it's funny that the most popular version of The Walking Dead is the TV show, when that's easily the worst version of this world. Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners is a pseudo-open world VR zombie action survival game. And the only interesting word in that sentence is VR. Technically that's 2, but boy, does VR make all the difference. Like any zombie game, you scavenge for supplies, you craft weapons, and you slice zombie heads off with an axe. But being able to translate all of this into real life actions in VR is magnificent. It's challenging, it's fun, and best of all, it's immersive. This game also takes home the award for Saddest Segment of the 2020 award season and Best Backpack. Number 5. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I love Spider-Man more than I love myself. So Miles Morales being only number 5 on this list shows just how good video games were this year. Miles Morales is a slimmed down, healthier version of the first Spider-Man game on PS4. No, not that. That one. Yeah, that one. Who edits this? It's largely similar to the first game, just without the boring MJ stealth missions, those bare bones science puzzles, or the more tedious side quests. The added abilities that Miles has over Peter, like Venom powers and invisibility, make the combat more satisfying, but also make stealth a little too easy and inconsequential. A more streamlined version of Spider-Man PS4, like this game is, takes 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But when you're a sequel to a game as good as Spider-Man PS4, that 1 step back doesn't really matter. Especially when you get to swing around New York in 60 frames a second. Oh my gosh. I think the best part of this game is that it takes place during the holidays. There's nothing quite like playing a snowy open world game as you're sitting on your cozy couch feeling the winter cold breeze creeping in from the outside. We need more Christmas time video games, that's all I'm saying. This game also takes home the award for Most Misleading Name for a Superpower and Best Launch Title because it has Spider-Man. Real quick, I'd like to take the award I gave to Walking Dead Saints and Sinners for Best Backpack. I'm going to take that award back because I'm going to give it to Spider-Man Miles Morales because I forgot that Miles Morales has a costume with a backpack on and there's a cat inside the backpack with a Spider-Man mask. And that's the best backpack of the year. That you can't beat that backpack. Number 4, The Last of Us Part 2. Oh boy. I think everyone in the gaming community is officially just tired of talking about The Last of Us Part 2 at this point. That's because their new punching bag is Cyberpunk 2077. Still, it's crazy how even after lying to their customers repeatedly so they could get their return on investment, Cyberpunk is somehow still getting less vitriol from fans than The Last of Us Part 2 did for writing its characters a certain way. The Last of Us Part 2 is an ambitious achievement in storytelling. It's definitely flawed and not nearly as tightly packed as the first game, but it's clearly not the worst game ever made, like some people were trying to say. It's not even the worst story ever done in video games. I think most gamers underestimate how common bad writing is in video games. Seriously, go back and play Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and try to tell me that that story is any good. This game also takes home the award for Coolest Rope, Best and Worst Use of Dog, and Most Guilt-Free Game. Number 3, Ghostrunner. Finally, let's talk about some real video games. Ghostrunner is a cyber ninja, cyber parkour, cyber game that you should cyber buy right cyber now. Imagine if Katana Zero and Titanfall 2 came together and had a baby. This is that baby. The action is incredibly fast-paced, brutal, and satisfying. It's a gorgeous looking game that pushes the player to master its genius combination of wall running, dashing, and slashing. Hacking enemies to pieces never gets old because the game doesn't overstay its welcome or get too big for its britches. It's confident in its simplicity, but maybe a little too confident in its story. But why should anybody even care about the plot when you can kill people faster than the dialogue can keep up? This game also takes home the award for Best Cyberpunk Game of 2020 and Most Predictable Story. Number 2, Ghost of Tsushima. There's not much more praise I can give to this game than I already did in my review. Ghost of Tsushima is beautiful, it's atmospheric, it's gripping, it's vicious, and it's even somber at times. This game is so many spectacular things. Exploring the island of Tsushima is an experience I wish I could just wipe from my brain so I could do it all over again. Most things that claim to be epic rarely ever feel that grand. Because that phrase is reserved for the more mindless popcorn flicks or the internet meme nerd who's still stuck in 2009. However, I have to say, Ghost of Tsushima feels like a true epic. It's a sprawling tale about family, honor, and self-discovery. This game also takes home the award for Best Samurai Jack Game, and the award for game that made me jealous knowing that people get to experience it for the first time on PS5 at 4K 60 frames per second, and I did not. Number 1, Doom Eternal. I know, shocking isn't it, that the only game that came out in 2020 that was on my list of best games of the generation is also my game of the year for 2020. Shooting guns in Doom Eternal and the clever combat design behind every gun is what carried this game to the number 1 spot. Because it definitely wasn't its story. No other game had such difficult and aggressive gameplay that it literally drew me to the edge of my seat. Let me be the first to say, Doom Eternal definitely got snubbed at the Game Awards this year. And I'd be even more angry about that if I totally didn't see it coming. Sorry, Jeff Keighley. Welcome to the real Game Awards, hosted by me, Suit and Tyler. And I say, Doom Eternal is the Game of the Year 2020. No take backsies. Here you go, Doom guy. And with that, we conclude Tyler's Totally Unbiased Bestest Things of Best Things 2020 Guilt-Free Edition, sponsored by Neil Druckmann. Also, with the amount of videos I had this up, there's no doubt it was a Game of the Year.